Welcome to episode 19 of the Decompression Chamber. The opening quote is going to be from a film called Boyhood. The quote goes, "You know how everyone's always saying, seize the moment? I don't know, I'm kind of thinking it's the other way round, like the moment seizes us." Roll the intro.
Like into me, no doubt that I never be without my damn brain. Closed mouth, I'm clever and I know my damn shame. No cloud to the better, no one know my damn name. No bow, that shit what I guess we about to cascade.
Yeah, I haven't watched that film since I first watched it, but I still remember the profound impact it had on me back then. And just while looking for a quote to start this episode, I thought I should probably go and revisit that film because yeah, it's really amazing. For those of you who don't know, Boyhood is a coming of age story about a small family, but it's filmed over 12 years where they cast these young actors at kind of early adolescence, and then they wrote the film and specifically filmed it over 12 different years so that you could see the actors age throughout the film. And I just think it's really good. It's not like you won't enjoy it in the same way you enjoy a lot of other films. It's a slow burn. It's kind of like eating soup, but in film form. Like, you're not immediately satisfied, but bit by bit you're like, yeah, overall this is a really good deal. I'm not sure whether that's a great analogy for it, but if you haven't seen it and you've got a lot of time on your hands, I recommend it. Yeah, especially because I think I'd probably look at the film differently now than I would have when I first watched it, I'm right at the end of my adolescence now. I'm 19, I'm 20 in a few months, and I'll be entering a new decade, a new period of my life. That's the thing, is big change doesn't feel like big change like day to day all the time, like I look back at myself and I think like, oh Christ, I feel so different to who I was back then, but every single day that I've lived, I felt like I was living as me. It just feels like every single day it's slightly shifted, and then after a long time you look back and you really consider how stuff's changed. It's strange because when I remember my life as an adolescent, or as a younger version of me, I have this strange feeling of disconnection. Like, it's not like I'm seeing the memory through someone else's eyes. It's just like I don't see that older version of me as the real version of me, in a strange sense, or maybe I don't identify with that version of myself as much. And yeah, it's just been something I've been thinking about. Yeah, there's this YouTube channel. It's called Philosophy Tube. I'm actually a really big fan. Like, UK based. They're just a YouTube channel that discusses philosophy and certain kind of issues in the world, like current events and stuff, and they kind of intermesh stuff. And yeah, in the last 2 days, the host came out as a trans woman, and it was really interesting to me because she made a 47-minute video exploring the philosophy of identity and the journey that she went through in terms of identifying as trans and what it felt like to be portrayed by all of society as a man, when in reality they didn't feel like that was how they wanted to express their gender identity, or yeah, it was a really eye-opening video for me, because it's not something that I've done my best job of adjusting my perspective and making sure that I align it with people who've gone through that, to understand how much more difficult that experience is than what other people might face, or just a different type of difficulty that people go through, And the thing that really amazed me was that while she made the 47-minute video to kind of fully explore her identity and the kind of the reason why they kind of use that video as a kind of process to come out publicly to the internet and stuff, she also made a short 7-minute video which was kind of put more at the forefront, which was just, instead of talking about specifically her identity or her place in the trans community, it was her placing the focus on the difficulties that they're facing, medically, legally, and in terms of how they're treated in society, And it's very eye-opening to me that that's the kind of situation where you're not just safe to express yourself and be on a platform where you feel like you can just represent yourself. Like, to be in such a marginalized position where instantly you're a spokesperson for a very small community, and people are gonna paint what you say in certain ways, and then you still, instead of putting the focus on yourself, you put the focus on where the help's needed and where we're deficient, like here in the UK. It's still something I'm learning about, but something that was very interesting to me was that one of the main points she made in the shorter video was that a lot of people, in being afraid to say the wrong thing, they don't say anything at all, and that's definitely something I'm guilty of, or I'm culpable of, because, you know, in times that are changing, you don't always know what the right thing to say is, and sometimes, you know, if you're not in on the loop or as well informed as you should be, you can say something that crosses a boundary that you don't mean to, you know. So it's just something I'm trying to, you know, make a better understanding of, be more empathetic to, and be aware of, you know, the issues that kind of exist in our society. You know, I always say how looking at the world through different lenses can make your view of the world higher resolution, and sometimes I forget to change the lens. I'm always looking down my own one, you know. And yeah, it's a thing that just makes me reflect on my own identity in general, I guess. It's like, it's not very often that, you know, I directly ask myself, who am I? But it's like, sometimes if I'm disappointed in myself, I will be like, is this who I am? I'll be like, is this what my like the sequence of events that have led me to here? This is what I'm doing, you know. Is this really all that it could be, you know? And I don't know. It's just something I think about a while. Like, what is it that defines me, specifically me, you know? And what's the balance between how I identify myself and how others identify me, and how does that help me define my place in the world, you know? These are all big questions that don't have solid answers. It's just like, it's kind of like those paintings where they're like, if you zoom in real close, it just looks like dots, but then if you zoom really far out, all those little dots, kind of the small differences, and you can kind of, out of all of those little details, emerges a much bigger, more kind of whole picture of the world. And it's kind of like, it's not a question and answer thing, it's more like a discovery process, I guess, for me, because I often think about how, I think it was Michelangelo, he would say that he'd look at a block of marble and he'd say that the statue was in there. Like, he would visualize the statue being in there, and he would, you know, he wouldn't be making the statue, he'd be bringing the statue out of the stone. And I guess I wonder how much that can apply to me, you know, because there's a lot of, yeah, there's a lot of marble around me, there's a lot of potential I can carve myself from, you know. And I guess I find myself thinking how much of what I do is based on what I want to be or what I want to do versus what is expected of me or what society wants me to do, you know. And it doesn't really have a solid answer. It fluctuates for every single part of my life, but it's still something to consider. And yeah, I don't really have much else gas to run on other than I'm going to confront you with some questions. I think if you're watching this and you're trying to get something out of it, just take some time to consider what makes you you, and what makes you good, just in general. What things that you do that make you happy, that make others happy, that you know you have a special ability to, or, you know, something that you watch out for that others don't, or even just something that you like that others might not. Just every single part, every single kind of nuance of being makes you even more unique, and in my opinion that brings you even more value. But that's not a fully developed thought, I just kind of just let it go. But yeah, I hope you have a good restful week. I hope I have a good restful week. I'm looking forward to the future, even though it's uncertain. Have a good one.